We're just days away from celebrating Christmas. So in these last days of Advent, we look at the beauty of faith in a painting at the National Gallery of Art. Joining me now is Jem Sullivan, author of The Beauty of Faith. Jem, welcome back.
Thank you, Jason.
So tell us about this painting. It's by artist Giorgione. Tell us about the artist, first of all.
The city of Florence was the birthplace of the Italian Renaissance, but soon after, many towns and cities across Italy became centers of Renaissance art and culture, like the city of Venice, where this painting was created between 1505 and 1510 by Venice's most well-known artist, Giorgione. Not only do we have this magnificent, fine piece of Venetian painting, we also have an image to help us as we continue our Advent journey to the great feast of Christmas.
Just a few days away from Christmas, we're looking at a depiction here of the Nativity. Can you tell us about this painting itself? What do you notice when you look at this as an art scholar looking at this painting?
So Venetian painters loved to set the gospel scenes in landscapes, beautiful landscapes. So that's what we see on the left side of the painting, is this very elaborate landscape with bright green trees. And then on the right side of the painting is a cave where Jesus, Mary, and Joseph are placed. And at the center of the composition are the shepherds, two shepherds. The shepherds were the first to hear the good news of Jesus' birth. And so they leave their work in the fields and they come to worship the Christ child on their knees. Notice their clothes are torn and tattered. Their feet are still muddy. They may be poor, but they are rich in faith. And so they come to kneel before the baby Jesus, who is the light of the world. Now look at Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Jesus is laying on the floor, the bare ground, but he's radiating light. He is the light of the world. And Mary and Joseph as well, they reflect that light in their beautiful robes. Joseph, look at the wispy golden hair and his golden robes. The Venetian artists often used ground precious stones into their pigments so that when the paint dried, the scene would actually radiate this golden light. So the whole scene really is about light and darkness.
I'm really curious because there's so much going on here, and I love the imagery of the shepherds in their torn and their tattered clothing. But there's also the green trees. We're talking about the Nativity in December. Why the green trees in December?
Yeah, and again, it's because the Venetian painters loved to show the natural world, and they would often set these beautiful gospel scenes. This is from the 2nd chapter of Luke. Set them against a very vibrant landscape. So it kind of looks like it's the middle of July, right? And yet what the contrast of light and shadow helps us to focus on the baby Jesus who's lying there on the ground and radiating this divine light into the world.
So as we look at this image, as we think about Christmas in just a few days, how can we take this image and apply it to our prayer life? What can we do meditating upon this image right here in front of us?
The theme of divine light shining into the darkness of this world really radiates across the Advent and Christmas scripture readings. So as we ponder this beautiful 16th century painting by Giorgione, I think we're invited to join the shepherds as they kneel before the Christ child, and to really let the heavenly light of God's love and healing fall into our lives.
Jem Sullivan, author of The Beauty of Faith, thank you for making this so beautiful for us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.